So let's just look at some of the resources that we had for the how-tos, and I'll share my screen with that
In
one.
the yeah,
The marketing for
what you
authors that
said,
I got off of
marketing.
Chat GBT. And it's still loading.
Yeah,
There we go.
that's good.
Okay.
That's good. Because actually, I have questions about just what you put in there, what is in there, is all things that have been, you know, online platforms. Have
Yeah.
you done Goodreads? I have done Goodreads for a
Yeah,
few
I've
years,
done
and then I
Goodreads.
stopped.
Yeah. And you,
How,
like
how
yeah,
so how do
I
you
have
use Goodreads yourself?
Goodreads is if I just happen to, read a book, for,
No, I
back
know
when I
that. I've
was,
done that, but how do you use it as a tool to market,
I
if you
think
do?
it's just reaching out to other authors and saying this is like what, and, maybe kind of picking their brain a little bit. Who's your agent? Um,
Hmm, okay.
or letting other people saying, hey, I'm putting together a book. This would be a possibility if you're interested in reading
But have
this. So,
you
if you're,
used it like that to contact other authors?
not me, I
Me
have
neither.
left good reviews for authors. And then, and particularly authors that I've met at the Atlanta Writers Conference, and then they'll usually get back to me and say, thank you so much. Really, it was great meeting you and stuff like that. So that's a good way
Okay.
to get with them.
So you
Because,
think it's a
again, if you're
popular.
leaving a good review on Goodreads, then that just kicks their ratings up. So,
Well, I did write for a while, but like, 20 years ago, I enjoyed doing that for a while. I would
mhm,
write reviews, and people would
mhm,
comment on it, and then I stopped after
yeah.
years.
It's been, oh, honestly, it's been a minute since I've been on Goodreads, but I think it's still, people still
I'm
use
just
that.
wondering which platform I should go with. I mean, I could go back to Goodreads.
What
Mm.
I would do is just kind of look. I didn't have a time after I pulled this up to really look and see like Amazon Author Central. Since you are
Mhm.
on Amazon, do you do that? Do you have that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have an author profile,
Okay.
biography.
Yeah, and I thought so. I thought
Yeah,
so.
well, I mean, okay. BookBird, I recently joined because of
Okay.
marketing and everything. Well, it's really cool about the book promotions. You know, I think it's
Hmm.
excellent for her. Like now, I'm really memoir, looking at
Hmm.
other memoirs, so for comps and everything. So they tell me when there's a good deal, the memoir, or it's a successful recent memoir.
Yeah.
Their books usually they say, oh, there are good deals on Amazon, 1.99 for this book, 0.99 for this book. So I'm buying books like crazy. That's the only problem. But BookBud is pretty good.
Well, good.
Have you
That's
used
good for me to know.
BookBud?
I haven't. Like I said, I pulled up a lot of those, but I will highlight that for myself to go, yeah, go ahead and check that out as ones that I haven't
I mean,
yet.
I find it okay. Then Facebook author page, so we
Yeah.
both do that.
Hmm. And
Um,
just a matter of posting on there more.
okay.
And then
Twitter,
X,
do you
formerly
like Twitter?
Twitter. I don't use it that much.
Me neither.
I will put stuff like, I mean, I also, and I need to do that, like when I'm posting things for Creative Actors Lab for my students, I use Constant Contact. And then when we talk about email things to send out, what's cool about Constant Contact is that you can set up posts that can go on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and then also X or
Hmm.
Twitter.
Okay, so it
Twitter,
goes
I just,
everywhere.
yeah.
I
Um,
noticed that Katie
mhm,
uh, has different accounts,
mhm,
Facebook, Twitter, and
mhm,
apparently she must do that. She must.
mhm.
So how do you do that? Mm.
There used to be, I think there's like a deck page. For me on Constant Contact, if I'm just going off of, saying, oh, this is something on in my newsletter or something you guys might want to know about that, we're uploading and things like that, then um that automatically for Constant Contact, that will set up a link to my constant contact. So even if you're not on my constant contact list, it sets up a link so that you
Okay,
can go there and click
spell it
in.
for me, the contact
A
symbol.
constant contact, it's actually in, I think when I sent it, email marketing, constant contact is right there.
Oh, constant.
The
Okay, I signed up
Yeah.
to MailChimp just like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And MailChimp, I think you can do up to like 50. Constant contact, I get like up to 500 emails that I can use, and that's like $12 a month.
It's free. Yeah,
Yeah.
MailChimp also, 500,
Yeah.
500 first. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So I've used,
MailChimp
yeah.
is basically that. It allows you.
Yeah,
So
it's
tell me
same
more,
thing. Yeah.
how, tell me more about, I mean, like MailChimp and the one you use.
Yeah.
Um, has it been good? Have you
Yeah,
been?
no, I mean, what I like about constant contact is I can see my open rate, and my open rate's actually pretty good. My open rate, and again, I'm sending out to like
What does that
students
mean, open
and
rate?
letting them know, about the podcast and anything new that we're adding, any classes for screenwriting and stuff like that. My open rate out of the 500's about 45 to 50%, which for an open rate is pretty good. A
Open
lot of
rate of
times,
50%.
yeah.
So
A
they,
lot of
they
time your
get
open
it and then they
rates,
actually open and look at it.
yeah. And then you get to see what links did they click into, what's your link, your click rate and things like that. So that's pretty good because sometimes your open rate on an email might, maybe be 3 to 10%. But these are students that I've had in class, so they know me a little
Yeah,
bit better than, hey, I'm just, I bought a email list or something like that. So,
right.
and if you've got a website, you can ask people to go in and, sign up, and then you can take emails off of that as well.
All
So
right.
depending how your website is set up, you can always
So
do
you
that.
asked them, I saw you had that. I looked at it
Mhm.
and I saw you had, but do you give them anything for it? I mean,
Again, they'll get things like, whether it's Ghost Wanderers or Creative Actors Lab. A lot of times they'll get like more exclusive content. They'll get deals if they want to go on Teachable. I'm
so
about
you
to
do do
upload
that, yeah.
two videos on actually using AI and writing, and then using the Save the Cat beat sheets. We did that for podcasts. So I've got,
Did you say
the right.
Max or you do AI for writing?
The one for AI for writing, it was just me, but when we talked about the first one, which was just the right stuff and resources and things like Save the Cat, he also likes to write poetry. So he and I were both on that. But our podcast, if you want a podcast, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's
But so,
places if you want
so
to be a
you,
guest on a podcast,
yeah, I
there's
think
places
I
that you
heard
can,
you say you do a newsletter. Is that right?
uh-huh, yeah.
So is that a
So
monthly newsletter?
a lot of times it's like a weekly, just like, hey, this is what, we might do a table read. Sometimes we're doing table reads of scripts that my students have written. Sometimes it's just a table read of like a pilot episode of a TV show. And then that gives people a chance to practice their cold reading skills, particularly for doing like, if we're analyzing a script for, a sitcom script, and a lot of sitcom scripts use commedia dell'arte character prototypes. So, who is like on The Office, you use a lot of commedia dell'arte prototypes. So, El Capitan, who's kind of the arrogant guy, would be Dwight. And then the lovers would be Pam and Jim, but then Jim would also be Pantalone, who is the trickster. And so we kind of just, talk about, you can still see how these prototypes exist even in, sitcom scripts that are more modern. So I like to let my students know that if they want to come in and do a table read on Monday nights, we do Monday night table reads like every other Monday. We're not going to do one this Monday because it's 4th of July week and nobody's doing, but we did one last week.
Wow.
Last week,
You
actually,
do a
last
lot. You
Monday,
do a
this,
lot, Kelly.
yeah, we did the pilot script for Friends. because that's turning 30. That blows my mind. So again, that script also has a lot of commedia dell'arte character prototypes. You've got Chandler would be the trickster there, and you'd have Ross and Rachel as the lovers there, and then you'd have uh Phoebe sort of like the sassy maid, so she'd be like the Esmeralda character. So it's just we kind of just look at that, but then it's for the writers, it's like, how is this script structured? But then for my acting students, it's like you get to practice cold reading,
Yeah.
and
So
that's
it's
important.
something, the newsletter, you do that with Max, right?
When we're doing the cold read and the podcast, I do that with Max.
So he
Um,
helps you in some ways
oh yeah. Yeah,
make it
screenwriting,
happen.
that's usually just what I teach. So, I'll sit there, I have one
You have a
student that,
lot to say. You have a lot to say.
yeah.
It's good. It's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I see. Okay, let's go back up a little bit if you don't mind.
sure.
So, okay, so we said Instagram, you said you did not use it very much.
I'm getting better about that because what I do, and then I didn't put on here for social media just because TikTok. What I
Mm.
found interestingly enough is when I post videos on TikTok, I get a lot of views. I mean, sometimes like thousands of views, which blows my
You
mind.
do?
Yeah. Um, because I'll be posting silly videos of I have this one character called Detective Grace O'Hara, and basically she tells bad dad jokes, but within the parameters of her being a detective. So they're very silly, but people seem to really like them. And then I have like an Irish mother and daughter.
Where is that? Where can I watch that? So
Oh, I'll
it's on
send you the
TikTok?
link. Yeah, that's on TikTok. Yeah.
And how is it called? Who are you on TikTok?
I should be Kelley Cody-Grimm. But yeah, if you search for me on TikTok that way. But yeah, and then sometimes I'll just take videos of big fish in I had one that was in an aquarium at Bass Pro Shops, and then I put music to it. So it looked like the fish was kind of looking at me and going, so it looked like the fish was singing. And they're very silly, simple videos, but people just really seem to like them. So, I'm kind of like, all right, let me just do stuff that's silly. And if you get a good laugh,
Wow, I'm
then
so
yay.
impressed, Kelley. I'm discovering. Okay, so we said Twitter, Instagram,
Hmm.
Facebook, author
Yeah.
page.
And TikTok, yeah. And Instagram, what I will tell you, if you post any videos on Instagram, most of the time you can only go about 90 seconds. TikTok will let you go if you want to do 10 minutes. You can go at least that long, but a lot of TikTokers, their attention span's probably not a whole lot longer than 90 seconds. Um,
I did little films, right?
mhm.
Like 30 minutes films, but not recently.
Well, but you know what? You can put those on YouTube, and then
Yeah, they are on YouTube. I have a few
yeah,
on YouTube.
you can drop the links and on your Facebook and your LinkedIn page,
Well,
and
I
then
have.
even
Yeah,
your
I
Twitter.
have. I have done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
enjoy making them.
yeah, well, good. Yeah. So if that's the case, then yeah, do that.
But
My
there's so
husband,
many fun things to do. That's a problem. I just don't have time to.
yeah.
Maybe.
And sometimes, I mean, my daughter helps me a lot. Amber helps me out a lot with social media. So she'll usually post stuff to the Creative Actors Lab,
Yeah.
Instagram, the Facebook page, the LinkedIn page. She has kind of like her own little deck. So she'll just go ahead and put it in there, and then it just posts all the different, it's like pretty much the same post, but then she'll put that into the different
Mm,
and I'll ask her what that is that she uses. But yeah, she's kind of like my social media
mm.
person. She'll well, for that she'll be posting almost every day, which is good. And
Okay,
she's good
that
about the
explains it.
hashtags.
I need
But
my
I like you.
granddaughter to age a little bit, and then
There you go. But like, they have some good hashtags here, like am reading, bookstagram, so just using those hashtags sometimes can
so we
really
can
pull people
participate
in.
in different hashtags like I'm writing, I'm
Uh-huh.
reading books.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
very
So
useful.
yeah. So that's, just reading,
Hashtag
reader, screen, author, hashtags.
WordPress, I use that.
Yeah. And then for your website and blogs, your personal website. So WordPress, if you have a website, mine I've built through Weebly and Square. And then I think I have one that's just a very silly one that I don't do much with is the Bless Your Heart Film Festival. But I'd like to start making some merch for that. And I would like to do a mockumentary on that, if just to kind of poke a little bit of fun at independent film festivals.
You get me
Um,
lost there. Yeah,
yeah,
you have many things you do. I have no idea what they are. There's acting and screen.
but again, so blogs are good. I'm thinking now that podcasts have become the new blogs. But if you want to blog about something or write about something, yeah. So MailChimp, I mean, what's nice about those is most of them have I have not really heard of ConvertKit. Um,
Okay, let's talk about the concept. So the idea is to create a mailing list.
mhm.
So how big a list do you have, for instance?
Me from my students just doing demo reels and things like that, my list is about close to 500.
500. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So I'll
could
send
have, I
out
mean, the
some,
people I know, I end up knowing a lot of people I could have.
yeah,
I'm like wondering, do I really need to? Ah, ah, ah.
yeah.
Ah. And
But
then when do
if you're
you write when you do that?
um, I have different things that are going on. So I might say, hey, there's a table read this following Monday. We've just uploaded 2 more lessons onto our Teachable website.
Yeah.
Or I've just uploaded the video that's exclusive content of our podcast. So you can't get like the videos online or not at first online. You have to subscribe to Teachable, and that's like $15, but then you get like, over 30 hours of lessons. So we do this is how this is how you download Drama Queen. This is how you use this screenplay software. Max does has a couple of modules on voice and how to use your voice properly.
Hmm.
I have a few modules on this is how you film your sides. So, if you're doing social media or sides, this is how you want to have, the camera, this is how you want the lighting and all that stuff. Um, so we
Yeah,
have
you
like,
guys are good
lessons.
into that.
Yeah, we try.
Hmm.
So, and then people can subscribe to that
I need
per
to
month.
subscribe to your thingy. I need to go
Yeah,
back to your website, I guess.
yeah. But you can click into our podcast on Buzzsprout, or you can listen to our podcast on any, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Spotify, any of the major ones, and that's all free. You can just, listen to that.
Julie, I'm like overwhelmed. I'm about to explode.
But yeah, so, just sending out those emails. But then what's nice about the emails, if you're doing that, a lot of them will connect with your social media. So when you're sending out that email, it'll send a link
Yeah.
to people being able to read that email, but you want to include maybe like a picture and maybe just a little blurb about, hey, this week I'm talking about X. Click here to learn a little bit more. So the architect's eye sees this, and so we'll talk a little bit more just with that. Now I'll be honest with you, the book promotion services I don't know a whole lot about. So, but I just happened to see that this was what ChatGPT pulled up for me. And then you can submit your books for review and promotion.
That's
So
great.
hopefully,
That's great. Where
yeah,
did you get that? I mean, that's
this
awesome.
was off of ChatGPT, off of AI, when I said, what are some good resources for authors to promote their work?
This
And
is
this is what
great.
ChatGPT came up with me for me. So,
That's
again,
impressive.
AI is not all bad. It's not the enemy. So
That's
this gave me,
amazing that you got that.
yeah, it came
Because I
up
mean,
with
I
this.
know
And
what makes me feel good is that I know most of that. I mean, the most of MailChimp, blah, blah. I mean,
mhm,
so I
yeah,
must be doing it kind of okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not that like MailChimp. Well, we are two on it. That's all I have put so far. But
So, if you
I mean,
can, I
give
mean,
me more.
yeah, if you put that into an Excel spreadsheet, then that's really easy to import
Yeah, I've seen
into.
it, but I'm like, okay, I need to do newsletter, but I think I'm not going to do newsletter. It's just too time consuming. I mean,
Then,
so I
basically what
could
mine
just
is,
give a little story, a
yeah,
little short story.
yeah, no, I'll do like a picture, then I may do a few sentences. If you want to sign up for, and I have like a place called Schedulista. So if you want to sign up for the table read, click here, and then they can go and sign up for the free thing. If they want to do the Saturday afternoon 4:30 screenwriting class,
Yeah,
here's this
you
link.
have
You
so
can sign
much.
up for that on Schedulista.
Yeah.
So basically that it just is more like a reminder, but I always try to do like different things, new podcast, the right stuff, working with AI. So if you want to check that out, then that's something new that people can go and
So
check
when
out.
would I check your podcast?
Apple Podcast, if you have that, or iHeart, or
No,
Spotify,
but what
really any.
would be your name? You would be
It,
Kelley.
it's called Creative Actors Lab.
Repeat that,
Yeah, Creative Actors Lab.
Creative Actors Lab. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at my signature, it's got kellycodygrimm.com and then creativeactorslab
Okay.
.com. And then you can also click into on Buzzsprout. That is where if you are doing podcasts, you pay, it'll store up to 3 hours a month of your podcasts. Yeah, it'll distribute it to Apple Podcast and iHeart and things like that. And then the same show notes, everything goes out to one place. So it just saves you time rather having to go one by one and uploading your podcast on each of those. It does everything all at once. So to me, it's like it's worth the $12 a month for me to have my stuff stored, everything's there. Yeah, I know it's a lot, but you
Yeah, it's a
don't have
lot
to
to
do a podcast.
understand.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of podcasts out there, so
Yeah,
but if you hear a podcast that you think is really good, share that in your newsletter, share that in your social media.
right. I
Just
like it actually. Well, I've
yeah.
signed up for newsletters in the last
Mhm.
3 weeks, and I
Yeah,
like it when they say, I read this book, it's really good, blah, blah.
yeah.
I like it.
And then Scrabifile, I think, does what we do, which is you can give and receive critiques. I don't know if there's a charge for that. Absolute Right Water Cooler, it covers various topics, marketing and promotion strategies. So I definitely want
Oh,
to check that out. So it's like,
what
okay, cool.
is that? It's what is it? It's a forum for writer. Okay.
Uh-huh. Yep.
It covers various.
And then Facebook ads, I actually used to use when I was doing my blog on a regular basis. That's how I got it up to, I think, about 81,000 views. Um,
81,000 views.
yeah. And you just kind of target who you want your audience to be. You maybe pay 10, $20 for running it for 7 days. It'll tell you how many accounts it'll hit. So it may sit there and go, oh, okay, well, we'll run it. And, for
So
$20,
instead,
it might hit.
when your book comes out, you do that.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was doing that with my blog, is like, oh, new blog here. This is what it is. And then, for $10 a week, people were picking up on it. But I was surprised how many people that weren't in the United States that were reading my blog. I was like, oh, wow, there's people in Spain and and then Amazon
Professional
advertising.
applications. That's good.
Um, so you
Would you
probably know
mind
a little
if
bit.
I shared that information there all
Oh
over
yeah.
with
Oh yeah.
my group?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead
Because
with
it's
that. That's
really
what it's here
good.
for. Yeah.
You
And
know,
then the
I mean,
Authors
it's
Guild.
really, it's very good. I think
Mm.
it's very good because it's not too much too.
Yeah, it's just 3 pages. It's 20 different resources, and then that just gives you a start. But yeah, again, that was just going on ChatGPT and going, hey, how do I market for authors, was just basically for book authors. And then this is what it came back with in about maybe about 20, 30 seconds. It listed all this. then I just cut and pasted it in my Word
Maybe I should
document.
put
And
May Spangler. What should I do? Tell me. Oh, May, you need to do that to your blah, blah, blah. Your website needs to
and
be.
then, one thing that I did mention, when, if you are running anything with Grammarly, I run stuff through Grammarly all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
And what's interesting was when I had done like the last thing that I had submitted to you guys, a short story, it was also on my Ghost Wanderers blog, but then, I got it, it'd been a few years. So I ran it through Grammarly and then I asked it to look at the plagiarism thing. And it came
Oh,
back and told me that 85% of that had been plagiarized from a Ghost Wanderers blog. And I just kind of laughed and I went, well, that's my blog. So yeah, I just cut and pasted it and cleaned it up.
oh, wow.
But
That's
I was like, wow,
how
because,
do they know
again,
that?
that's not a well-known blog, but yeah, it went all over Grammarly, went all over and went, aha, yes, this is plagiarized. But, again, it was from me. So I don't,
Right.
that's technically not that. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, definitely share that if you want to share that with your group. Absolutely.
Oh, that's so kind of you because it gives me something good to talk about. We can
Hmm.
all share
Hmm.
and see what
Yeah.
they do. And
Yeah. And just open it
and,
up and say, who's used what, because I would
and
say
let's
half those
all of us
resources on
use
there.
that and see, try to, that's what I'm trying to do. But
Yeah, half of those
yeah,
resources on there I haven't used. So
I'm not a pro, but it seems like some people are even worse than I am. I'm like, what? Like, no, I don't do that. No. It's like,
yeah,
whoops.
yeah. But again, if you want to talk about, your book and stuff like that, sometimes just getting a tripod, putting your phone on a tripod, recording a quick video on your phone, and then just uploading it onto Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or something like that, because people are more likely to look at videos than read sometimes.
Mm.
So you can be encouraging people to read by doing a video, encouraging them to read. So yeah.
I'm going to look at what you did on TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm curious. But of course, you're
Yeah.
an actor and everything. So,
Yeah. So, but again, it's surprising people post things about their animals. Oh my gosh, animal videos are so big on Instagram and TikTok and so but you can talk about recipes. People love recipes, but you can, just talk about architecture.
mhm.
If there's an interesting building and you want to say this is something, as an architect that really strikes me. And people go, whoa, I wouldn't have thought of that. Oh, how cool. Yeah, and you just don't know. So,
They're good at
sometimes,
packaging things.
yeah,
Yeah, they
so
are.
if you want to be kind of doing those little teasers before the architect's eye comes out, and I'm just thought of that, just threw that out. That might be something fun to kind of have you build an audience. So at the point that your book comes out and you're pointing out different architecture things, they could be going,
Well, that's what I
oh,
thought to do in my newsletter,
oh, okay.
would be to take different buildings in Paris from my book, that I
Mm-hmm,
studied in details or paintings.
mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I just
So,
do too much.
if it's just, it could be just taking a picture and then you're just putting your voice underneath it and just talking about what that picture, what that particular building as an architect is jumping out to you. And then all of a sudden people go, whoa. Again, it's kind of like when you're analyzing commedia dell'arte characters in a sitcom, people wouldn't have known any of that. But then when you're sitting there going, oh yeah, the trickster, the Jim, and all these other characters, they've been around since Italian Renaissance art forms. So, and then people are like, whoa, I don't know that I can, this is really cool, I'm not going to be able to look at a sitcom again. And I'm like, well, you will. When we do script, actually I taught a script analysis class last night, and I'm like, you will, but you'll appreciate it more because now you know the work that went into it, rather than going, oh well, that's nice. So again, with architecture, if you can get people to appreciate the style and the design, they'll appreciate more of what that actually is. So, I mean, I'm not an expert, but maybe you just start, dropping that. So at the point that the architect's eye drops, you've kind of built a social media audience, and then you can say that to your publisher.
Yeah, that's a main idea, is to
Mhm.
have something, about marketing,
Mhm.
a section about it, which is what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. Cool.
But just to say even that I started a networking group, it's not bad. It
Yeah.
gives something.
Yeah. Any street cred that you can add. But anyway, all right. Well, thank you, May.
Well,
I'm glad
thank
we're
you,
able to do
Kelley.
this.
You
And
are
I'll
like
stop the
so
recording.
good about it. I'm impressed.